Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do my first reaction video, and I'm going to react to a red pill content creator, a fairly new one. It's gotten really popular, and I'm only going to react to maybe 30 seconds of this video. I'm going to cherry pick a portion of this video, and I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to help men in particular understand what the real world is really like and why it's set up this way. Because I feel like a lot of the red pill content creators and viewers are pushing propaganda that is setting you up for failure. So let's get into it. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I have not known about the red pill content up until this last year when I started being a content creator. You know, as a new content creator, you start to explore YouTube a little bit more, and I've stumbled on this type of content. Now, like I said, I don't know much about it, okay? I do know that the concept is to help men understand the truth, quote unquote truth, right? And so the idea is to help men, right? So I'm going to probably do a few more videos talking about this red pill content and questioning, does it really help men or does it not? Okay. Now let's take a look at this video and let's see if they're telling the truth about the system. Okay. So I'm going to click over here. I've got here this channel called Dad Mode in Dark Mode. Okay. The title is We Were Raised by Women Who Hated Men. Now, this video, he pretty much he isn't really talking about moms in this video. He's really talking about the system as a whole. The women who are probably in the workforce, maybe in charge of things, who knows, right? But let's just get started with this little segment here, which is, by the way, the most replayed. If you see this graph, this is where people really went back and forth on and studied, okay?
But let's talk about numbers here. Let's talk about, school for a second. Over 76% of K through 12 teachers in the US are women.
Totally true.
In early education, it's over 90%.
Probably true as well.
From the moment you step into a classroom, you are placed in a behavioral system designed by women for women.
Now let's stop right there. All right. Designed by women for women. Is that really true? Let's think about that. The school system as we know today is pretty much the same thing as it was 125 years ago. You know, towards the later half of the 19th century, like around the late 1800s. Okay, why did the school system, why was it even created? It was for the Industrial Revolution, for labor. That is what the school system was for, guys. And let me ask you something. Who was in charge back in the late 1800s? I can tell you right now, it surely wasn't women, was it? Women were not in charge. They couldn't even vote, guys. They didn't have control of Congress, probably none of the state legislatures. They barely even had much placement in the workforce in general. So I'm going to debunk what this guy is saying, claiming that women run the school systems or women created the school systems, because they didn't. Now let's continue on and see what else he has to say.
Or girls. Boys they're just outnumbered, they're outcultured. You're expected to, sit still for hours, use your inside voice. Never interrupt. No, never talk back.
All right, let's stop right there. Why is it that schools and teachers, primarily women, don't want you to talk back? I'll tell you why, guys. It's because men run the world. Okay? Sorry, ladies. I hate to break it to you, but men still operate the world. They still run the world. They still run all the businesses out here. They run the lawn mowing companies. They run the industrial plants. Anything that requires labor, hard labor, men are usually in charge. And what do men expect when they are in charge? They expect you to listen. They expect you to do what I want you to do. If I ask you to go cut the grass, you better cut the grass. Right across the street, I got my neighbor. He's doing a massive landscaping project. All men, by the way. There's hundreds of bricks. Do you think that the foreman of that project or the business owner of that project, do you think that he wants to have young men coming out of high school who can't actually take the orders? No, because the first time any one of them says, no, I'm not doing that, you're fired. Like Donald Trump, you're fired. That's exactly why the school systems are set up the way they are. That's why the women in the school systems tell you to be quiet, okay, and take orders, because this is how the real world works. Every job has a pecking order, okay? The job market, it's not a democracy, guys. It's a dictatorship at the end of the day, run by men. Men aren't going to tolerate it. There's a reason why the school systems are set up the way they are. They want young men and women that are able to come out of school, able to listen, take directions, and do the job. That's what it's all about. All right, let's finish this segment.
Never challenge authority. Always be obedient. But what's actually happening is that normal male behavior is being pathologized.
Yes, it is. And that is the point, okay? The point of industrialization, the modern world, is to make you obedient, is to do the job, to function in society. That is the point of grammar school up through high school, okay? If you want to go beyond that to college, now you have a chance to explore your creativity, etc., okay? So let's go back for a second and let's talk about why women primarily dominate the teaching workforce. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. This is a fun part to this video. So when men created this system, right, that was based on taxpayer dollars, right, they didn't want to have a super expensive system. No man, because mostly men were paying taxes back then because they were the labor force and they had all the jobs. No man would want to pay a high price for education. So, who did they decide to employ? Women. Women have always been cheaper labor. Okay? And that is true to this day. Women are still cheaper labor, and we put them into the education system. Right? We say, hey, we don't want to pay much taxes on our property taxes. So, hey, ladies, why don't you go into teaching and we'll pay you less money at the end of the day? That's what's happening, guys, right? If we cared about education and we cared about actually, hey, guys, would you like to go teach? Most men won't do it because there's not enough money into it. But let me ask you this. Right now, the world is still run by men. Primarily Donald Trump, Mr. Donald Trump, big boy Donald Trump. Why doesn't Donald Trump raise the pay for all teachers across the country? What would happen then? Well, maybe then you would get some males that would actually want to go into teaching. If, let's say, the minimum salary for every teacher in the United States was $150,000. Now we're talking. Now we've got lots of males that are interested. But guess what? They don't want to do that. Donald Trump's part of the rich, guys. He doesn't give a crap about you. Just an FYI. If you haven't learned that yet about rich men, you got another thing coming. No rich man cares about the puny little peons that are in our education system. All they want is labor force. They want you to cut the lawn. They want you to move the bricks. They want you to do the construction. That is what you are for, okay? Donald Trump's not going to go out and say, hey, $150K per teacher. Guys, go teach our men to be something else. That's not his MO. Never has been, Okay? And all the industrial titans who are still men primarily, they're not going to play that game either. They're not going to pay more taxes to raise the wages to get men into our school systems. Wouldn't that be nice, guys? Wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? I would consider it. You know, I've got all the credits. Okay, you give out a starting salary or a mid salary for a teacher of 150K. Boom, I'm down. I'm down to go be a teacher. But today I got a family to feed. I can't do that. My wife does it. She's a 5th grade teacher. But after 20 years, she makes about 3 to 4 times less than I do. Okay? So think about it, guys. If you're going to dog on women teachers in the system, you better think twice about what it really is. It's about men who are in charge of the system, not women. Okay? I just want to have this debate. I think it's something we really need to tell the truth on as to what is going on. Men are running the show, not women, guys. Okay, and they're making the rules on how much the pay is for teachers and who's in that position. And it's mostly women because it's hard for them to go out and get a 6-figure job doing landscaping or doing some manual labor that is difficult for them. So we give them the less paying teaching jobs at the end of the day. So that was my first reaction video, kind of fired up about it. Maybe I'll do more if you guys are interested in me doing more here and there. I don't want to make my channel all about it. But every now and then I think it's okay. Maybe I'll get some views from it. Who knows? And we'll start a conversation on it. You know, let's see what the real red pill content is all about, because I might do more reaction videos to this. So anyways, if you guys do like this content, like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Take a look at my previous video, and everyone, have a great day. Thanks.